Hello, my name is Peter Holly. I've recently joined the Green Action ELT Steering Committee, and I'm really pleased to contribute towards education, teacher development through what we do together. I've been around the ELT block quite a few times, starting in very basic conditions in classrooms in Sudan uh, way back when, billions of years ago. I'm very fortunate nowadays, though. Most of my teaching is as a freelancer, and I don't use course books. So I basically adopt or adapt a dogme approach. Um, that gives me the freedom to basically design materials, design courses. I've done recently, I've done summer schools for teenagers, also Erasmus funded teacher training courses for teachers in Central and Eastern Europe, which is where I'm now located. Um, and for that kind of thing, as indeed with a lot of the individual lessons that I do with my clients, I've been able to use sustainability and green issues um, to drive what I do. So basically, what I'd like to share with you is it's a progress report in terms of where my thinking is at the moment, and a status report, and also to indicate some of the things which I'm looking at the moment to inform how my educational teacher training and teaching work develops in 2025 and beyond. So I'll just share my screen so I can talk through some of the things which are very interesting and developmental for me at the moment. So the session I've put together, the very short session I put together, takes me or takes us from where I came from recently with the Sustainability Development Goals through to what could be called the Inner Development Goals. And I do see a direct link back to 21st century schools when they were um, developed for to inform education, to develop learners who were uh, up to speed with the new developments, the new requirements for being a global citizen. And so global citizenship education is something that really interests me at the moment. So I'll just start with the SDGs, which I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. Um, I, I suppose initially I was looking at this from purely number 13 to do with climate action, the climate crisis, global heating. These were things that I was very aware of. And indeed, the educators and learners that I've come into contact with very aware of too. But there is obviously a bigger picture, um, not just that, but sustainability as a whole. And I found the SDGs to be a really useful framework. Um, there's a lot of support for educators using these online support. The world's largest lesson, maybe something that you're aware of. There are resource books produced by the British Council, by Nick Peachy. Lots of resources you can download and access free of charge. It must be said that some of these are not necessarily for English as a foreign language learners. So you may have to filter the language to make it age and stage appropriate. So that's where I was coming from a few years ago. And then I was very fortunate about a year ago to do some work with some educators at the Laurent University in Budapest who were also committed to involving sustainability in what they did with their students there. And I became aware of, through them, the inner development goals. And these basically evolved from the SDGs. And these are really looking at the skills that we want to develop through the content. And if you go through down from 1 to 5, you can see that these are getting, more complex, more um, active as you go through. It starts with the individual. It then moves on to the individual thinking about what information they're looking at. Um, Third one is relating that to other people and the world as a whole. And to move forwards with that, we really need to collaborate. We need to get our learners to collaborate with each other, to talk about what concerns them, to work together to find solutions to these. And the last thing there is action. And Chris will have quite a few words to say about that in terms of where he feels about how we should be encouraging our learners to act at the moment. So that's the EDGs. And if you're familiar with the 21st century skills, which I'm sure many of you are, um, I hope you'll already be seeing a sort of correlation between the IDGs and 21st century skills. So this is just a review. If you're not familiar, there was some research done actually with employers, probably about the end of the last century, thinking forwards, thinking beyond what we could call the foundational literacies that were embedded in educational systems at that time, and moving towards things like competences, the 4 Cs, and character qualities, how people as individuals collaborate with others. They need to be adaptable, they need to be resilient. And these are skills which we can develop if we choose the right language activities and materials to work with them. So that's the 21st century skills for students. Um, Last year, I was just browsing on LinkedIn. I follow 1 or 2 people there, and I was quite interested to see a similar sort of thing, um, a review of what the characteristics of 21st century teachers should be in an ideal world. And this really was bang up to date, with some things. Which I suppose are self-evident. I mean, that an educator should be AI literate. I mean, this is very much the buzzword at the moment. I do have reservations in terms of impact on the environment, but clearly AI is not going away, and it's now another tool in our recipe book, if you like, as educators. We need to be innovative, we need to be creative, adaptive, networked. All of these are things are fairly self-evident. But what really excited me was to see others there, and I felt sort of that this was endorsing how my view of education had evolved and strengthened in recent years, because you can see things like environmental advocate, and that says directly incorporate sustainability into teaching. Um, Action is in there too. As a sort of link to that is learners being globally oriented um, and culturally responsive. So this is something that I'm now focusing on in terms of my own teacher training when I work with educators, but I am focusing on those 3 that I've just highlighted. I'm not ignoring the others, but that's very much my focus. So, uh, going back in time, but again evolving to fit the current day, is GCE, Global Citizenship Education, and more recent review of what that actually means in real terms. Something I picked up on again. is this breakdown into three areas, which I think again is really helpful in terms of guiding us as educators moving forwards in teaching and helping our learners to learn. So starting at the top, cognitive, that's where things like the SDGs come into play, socio-emotional, developing attitudes, but also skills. Uh, so again, we're looking at the IDGs there, and leading on to behavioural, what our learners, what our educate, what fellow teachers do, um, becoming agents of change again, motivating students to fight injustice and to change the world, hopefully. So that's what I really had to share with you. Um, I don't think there's any doubt about how critical this is for us to engage with our learners right now. We know, going back to just the climate crisis, that this is a pattern. The science shows us. And we need to make sure that we reinforce that message that, time is of the essence. Um, as we said, the sort of title of this webinar, um, the world is on fire. There we go. Um, Finishing with a quote from Nelson Mandela. Um, and I think that's very powerful because, again, it endorses what our position is. It strengthens us, gives us the resolve to do what we can to change the world that we're in at this time. So um, that's really what I wanted to share with you. And well, I look forward to hearing from my colleagues on the committee, and good luck to you all moving forwards in your own teaching and learning situations. Thank you.